Welcome to another special edition. New year, same postgame show, 2025. We had a great week 4 in the Connecticut season. We got a 3-time champion back with us, someone who has history in this league. Some say a potential Hall of Famer. I mean, we'll see how the higher-ups think about that. Chris, how we doing?
Doing all right, Greg. Happy New Year. Congrats to Ohio State for not choking this year. I know you're happy
So
this
far.
morning. Hey, still went to the championship,
Got it right here.
Surprised you don't have it on.
Got it right here. Yeah, you never know. Got to keep the branding good, but I appreciate that, Rudzinski.
No Connor, thankfully.
Really. I mean, you know something about chips. Yeah, no Connor. Thank fucking God. Oh, yeah, whatever. No one gives a fuck if I swear. Nick, how we doing, King? How we doing? New year, new you. How's it going? How's life?
Life is great. Yeah, once again, Happy New Year. I'm doing all right.
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, we're doing good. And, speaking of all right, there's a Legacy Leagues team that's doing pretty all right this season, and that would be my Flint Tropics. And they are absolutely cruising as we get into these games. And we'll get into the first game of week 4, the first game of the new year, which was Flint versus Team YOLO. And Flint took it to them. I mean, there was not much defense played in this game. 130 to 112, Flint won. I'll just start off by saying Matt Fink set the assist record with 24 assists. Please note, the former record holder is right to my left, right below me. I don't know. But Rudzinski, he was the one who had it. So shout out Matt. But Flint's playing great. Chris, I'll kind of go to you quick. What do you think about it? How you feel?
I'm cool with it, man. I mean, records are meant to be broken. I mean, I'm one of 2 people that had 20 assists in this league, so it's not. Shout out to him. You can't really get mad.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. And, for Flint, I mean, I'll make this short and sweet for Flint. They're playing good basketball. Mike Bizzuto's hitting his threes. Everyone's playing great. If Flint's playing like this, they're a great team. They didn't even have Quan Jackson there today. Quan Jackson's just resting up doing his thing. I mean, I don't know. Rudzinski, you got anything else? Shout out Rico Santiago. I think we all agree Rico Santiago, if he was on a better team, would be a great player because he is just phenomenal. So shout out my boy Rico.
They put up 112 points. That's no short feat. It's not like we see 100-point scorers every single week. But yeah, obviously Flint was in. I mean, they only have 4 players. You know how that goes with defense wise. I mean, I've been there. You've probably been there. You show up with 4 players, and defense is something's going to lack in that. But every player on Flint had over 22 points. Bizzuto had 46 on 78% shooting, 7 for 11 from 3. I see how this assist record went down so easily. But yeah, like you said, Rico, 46 points, 17 of 30 shooting. He hit 12 threes. I mean, you can't say enough about them. And shout out to Jamar Petty, had 32 points, 12 rebounds. It's a solid game all around. Team YOLO obviously was shorthanded too. It looks like they only have 5. So, I mean, obviously there's not much you can do when you play against the Flint Tropics. I've learned that the hard way a couple times. They like to take things away from me,
like
repeats and assist records, but we won't get into
that. Nick, you were there. You saw it up and close. Nick, what did you see from YOLO and Rico and the boys? They just couldn't do enough to take out Flint in this one.
I mean, Flint, manhandled that whole game, but I will say between the second and third quarter, there have been like 15, 20-point leads from Flint, and Team YOLO did a good job of decreasing those leads every now and then. I mean, they got back to a 5-point game here and there. But, Flint was limited on numbers. Defense is tough when you have 4 players out there and no bench. But, the reason that Flint is winning all these games is because they can lack in that defense, but they're coming right down the other side and making every shot they can. And they're a threat from 3 from every single person on the team, and it can't be stopped.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And speaking of teams with 4 players, we're going to go to the next game. And former GM of Yaga, we got Yagaville taking on FD Ballers. And Yagaville showed up at the game. They had 2 guys that had about 804. And I was like, what is happening here?
We've all seen that.
I was going to say classic Yagaville fashion. The guy showed up. Jelly made his debut. and they took it to the FD Ballers. But I want to give a quick shout out to the FD Ballers. They're really playing better basketball. They're figuring out in this league. They're taking more threes. They're attacking the paint, using their big bodies. And I just really love what I see. I want to give a shout out to JT Sullivan. He's having a great season. He's really coming into his own. John Gold and Andrew Griffin are this team. And now that a few other guys are really stepping up, we just love to see it. But, this Yaga team, I'll kick it to Chris. I want to give a shout out to the Randy J duo. Those two absolutely did their thing. Jelly shaking off a little rust. But, I don't think there's a more efficient player in Legacy League's history than Dave Armstrong. He's just unbelievable. But, Chris, I'll go to you. Yagaville didn't have Mike Davis, didn't have Devon Pratt. Eric Langston, was kind of roaming around doing his thing. TJ Killing's not there. What did you see from Yagaville? You're familiar with this squad.
Well, what I saw from Yagaville is they really dug deep into their bench, obviously, without their main guys there. As Randy Kahn had 37, shout out to him. Number 5 over there had 32. But yeah, obviously Jelly showed up finally. That's a big piece for them. Dave Scave did his thing. When Eric Langston only has 9 points, 3 for 9, that there wasn't much of a game going on there.
Yeah.
Seemed like they were just having fun throwing up threes. But I mean, no disrespect to either one of them, but when two of your who are going to be bench players going into the playoffs had 37 and 32, I think it just shows you how deep this team really is. And I think they're poised to at least go to the finals.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That's Yagaville for you, man. They're deep. When Jay Velez is hitting threes like that, and Randy is just playing incredible basketball. I mean, this is what this Yagaville team can do. You have some of the best players we've ever seen in this league. You got some of the best role players we've ever seen in this league. You got some of the best big men we've ever seen in this league. Yagaville's a complete team. They're an awesome team to watch, and I can't wait till they play the Flint Tropics in a few weeks. It's going to be a good game.
Hey, it's not bad when you're
Nick,
not
Chris?
bad when your so-called 9th man on the team has 3 championships, as Brill does.
That I was about to say, that's one thing that helps for them is Brill just gets it. He knows how to win. He's the leader for them. And, shout out to Yagaville. Like Chris said, if Jay and Randy are playing like that, I mean, even on the defensive side, I got to give Randy a shout out. Randy's doing his thing out there. So I'm happy for these Yagaville guys. They're a bunch of good
Randy
guys.
had 5 steals.
Randy was playing great out there. And this was a game where he was like, I could probably get mine. And he just went off. So shout out to Randy. Shout out to Yagaville. Speaking of Yagaville, though, we're going to one of their rivals, and that's Run TMC playing against Get Money. And Run TMC improves to 3-0 versus Get Money in their lifetime. 78-71 Run TMC.
Sounds like another rivalry.
This was the Reggie Stewart show.
We used to have in this league.
I was away.
Sounds like an old school rivalry. Shocker City versus Run TMC, but
Hey, well, you set me up there. If history repeats itself, Shocker City ended up winning those chips, so maybe Run TMC can maybe finagle their way into a championship. But Reggie Stewart, stop me if you heard this before. Reggie Stewart took over and won the game in sweatpants. I might add, he was wearing sweatpants. Let's get that out there. I'm gonna want to give a shout out to Kyle Davis. He does everything he can every week. This obviously Get Money's very shorthanded without Tyron. They only had 5 guys at the game. It's going to be hard for this Get Money team when they play teams that are just deeper than them. And this Run TMC team played a great game. Eric Singleton had a great game, but this was just the Reggie show. Reggie is a phenomenal player, and there's a reason he's a multi-champion, a multi-MVP, and a multi-offensive player of the year in this league. When Reggie gets going, there's really not much you can do. Nick, I'll go to you, and then Rudzinski. Nick, you've watched a few games in this league. You've seen Reggie time. You've seen TMC. You've seen Get Money. 2 great teams, but I think the Tyron McRae injury just is going to really hurt them going forward. And I think TMC, big win for them. So what'd you see, Nick?
No, you're 100% right. With McRae getting hurt, like, it's a whole different team. They played different ball. But, Run TMC had it the whole game. I will say, like, they're more of like an ISO team, I would say, because, Reggie dropped 35 with 2 assists, and other players got 5 and 2. So it's more of like an ISO game for them, creating their own space. But, Reggie's just taking over every game, and that's special for their team. But down the road, they're going to have to, I feel like, figure out a couple different things in terms of ball movement and creating space for each other that they're going to have problems with different teams.
Yeah, no. Kicking to someone who has a lot of experience playing Run TMC. Chris, what'd you see? Run TMC get money. You play both of these teams a bunch.
Obviously it was the Reggie Stewart show. Shout out to, like you said, shout out to Kyle. I mean, he's really trying to carry this Get Money team. Obviously Kyle was on Yaga with me and won Finals MVP, so we know what he could do. 39 points. I mean, obviously he's got to be in the MVP conversation this season. Yeah, Reggie 2 assists though. I expect more. I expect more of the triple double fashion from you. I get the roster isn't built out the same way it usually is, but I mean, shout out Eric Singleton, had a typical Eric Singleton game, 15 points. I need to see more from Dante, man. Only 2 points. I expect more from him. He came over here as the big free agent acquisition from Run TMC, coming off the championship, and he's just not doing it all out there for me. Doesn't really show up. But no, like you said, I mean, this was the finals last season, so it's a great matchup.
Yep.
Tougher. Get Money's probably without. I mean, no disrespect to the rest of them, but it's probably their second best player and one of their leaders. Um, Not
Yeah.
on the court is a huge loss. I mean, you saw me go through that one of the seasons when Mike wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's tough to overcome that sometimes, especially when you're playing a guy like Reggie who lives for these rims. I mean, I think he's played 10 seasons in this league. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I expect a little more out of Will Hudson too, who's a veteran, 5 points. I mean, got to get these numbers up, guys. If Run TMC is going to compete, I mean, they have the guys to do it with Chad and Eric and Reggie and Cody. I mean, they have the guys to pull off an upset in the playoffs. So I still like what I see from them. I won't bet against Reggie very often. Probably only when he's playing Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I was about to say I agree. There's not many times I'm betting against Reggie Stewart, and I'm with you, Chris. I think that TMC's got the talent. They need to figure it out. They're figuring out the flow of things. I would love to see Dante and Will and them kind of get more involved, start hitting more threes because when they play a Yaga or a Flint, they're going to need to score more than 78 points. And obviously get Money's defense. I just want to say again, Taishi McCray. I'm petitioning him to be Defensive Player of the Year again.
One of those guys, man.
He will go. He's one of the. Hey, that's the best way to put it.
He
He's a
is.
dog. He is just a dog. Taishi McCray will try to lock you down. He'll go up anytime anyone's dunking. It could be T.J. Killens going for a dunk. He'll try to
He,
block it, and that's just the dog in
he
him, and
doesn't
I
care.
respect it.
I just
He doesn't care, and it's that little like I don't give a fuck for lack of a better word that makes him such a good defender.
injuries, man. I hate injuries. I
Um,
wish every team would be fully healthy all
yeah,
season. I wish every guy would show up every week,
agreed,
just so we see teams at full strength. And because, like you said, I mean, it's gonna be an
agreed.
issue when teams like Yagaville and Flint have 7, 8 guys that could score 30 points. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of having 7, 8 guys that could score 20 or 30 points. We had a Lord's Army NLMB game to end our game nights, and it was a banger, probably one of the best games of the night. Their teams did show up in full. Pretty much everyone was there for both teams. NLMB has Andrew Murray coming back. He was a little hurt. This was his second game, and man, let me give a shout out to Andrew Murray. He went off. Andrew Murray, I saw him before the game talking shit to Eric Langston. They were having a little fun, and I'm like, oh, so he knows Eric. He came in this game and he had check the top plays this week. He had a double pump. You know the dunk LeBron did, the little double pump. Andrew Murray did that, obviously 8.5 rims. But I want to give a shout out to NLMB. I don't think they get enough love in this league. They have pretty much a similar team from last year. They added Christian Dessou. James Harrington was hurt in the beginning of the year. He kind of came back last year late. I think he's the most underrated player in this league. He does everything out there, and he doesn't shoot threes, and he knows he's not a shooter, and he doesn't force it, which I think is huge. Dante Hodge is a sniper, and he can't miss. And Christian Dessou he's playing good basketball. He's really finding his rhythm. I want to give NLMB complete praise here. They're on the right trajectory. They should be a top 4 team in the power rankings, and they are the definition of a team that if you're a 1 seed, a 2 seed, you do not want to play them in the playoffs because they can get hot. They're feisty, and I love what I see from Andrew Murray and these guys. Lord's Army, they just got to, I don't know, they got to figure it out. EJ Linton and Sean Sita had a phenomenal game. Jaquan Bromell always plays good, but I mean, I don't know with Lord's Army. There's something off right now. I just can't put my tongue on it or finger on it or whatever you want to say. But I don't know. Jaquan Bromell is always a special player. EJ Linton's one of my favorite players. I think he's really coming into his own. But I don't know. I mean, Chris, I'll go to
I
you
think
and
with
then
Lord's
Nick.
Army, as we were talking about
Anything?
last time, I think they have rotation problems sometimes where they don't always know who to put on the court at certain times, which is obviously a problem when you have 9 players that want to play and they all pay money. It's kind of tough to tell somebody they're not playing. So, I mean, obviously, I would both of these teams can upset the top teams in the league, as you almost saw last week. Lord's Army had a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter against Yagoville. NLMB has been a surprise. What was their team name last season?
They were they were split up.
Oh, so
I'll
they
tell you
kind of
right
joined
now.
together.
Yeah, they were back
Okay,
outside boys.
I do remember that name. This
They had Dante Hodge, they had
should be an
Alex
interesting
Willis,
team for Rico
and
to
James
join,
Harrington.
as we were talking about the other day.
I
This would be
agree.
a nice. They should hit him up in the off season. But no, obviously this could potentially could be two teams in the final four by the end. I think they could beat any team in the league, either of these teams. Obviously, you're not going to catch Flint napping, but you could. Yagoville tends to not show up
Yeah.
on time to the games, and you could catch them not warmed up. I mean, I've been a part of it too, so that's no
They play
disrespect.
Yaga next week.
Who NLMB?
And
Should be a
LMB
good
Yaga
game.
next week.
Hopefully, everybody show. I would assume Mike and Pratt will show up for that game.
I mean, you think so? Rudzinski agreed. If you look at NLMB schedule, they lost to Flint by 12, or 11. All right, like that's not a bad loss.
And that
And
was
then
early,
the
right?
next 3 games, yeah, that was week 1. And then the next 3 games, they beat TMC, they beat Get Money, and
Oh,
they beat
oh yeah, that was the
Lord's
game
Army.
where they were down
So
a lot early, and then they fought back. And
they
yeah,
came
I
back.
do remember that.
This team, I'm
They kind of
telling you,
found something in
they
the
are
second
that
half.
team you do
No,
not want to play.
like I said, I don't think you want
Yep.
to play either one of these teams in the playoffs.
Agreed. I agree. Sean Cita, he had his best game I've ever seen him play in Legacy Leagues. He's taken over, and I agree with what Chris said. Lord's Army's got the talent. They're just going to put it together. I need to see more from Jake Morales. Love Jake Morales, but he's a better player than 7 points. He's too impactful. I know he had a little off game, but they'll be back. Keep your heads up, Lord's Army. Keep the faith. No pun intended. You guys will be good. Um, but Nick, I'll give you the floor quick. Anything you want to say on NLMB, Lord's Army? Not even the game. Like you got a hot take about the team, or these two teams you think are just kind of floating in the middle right now? You got to see more from them.
I mean, all was pretty much said about both of them, but no, I definitely think even despite the fact that they are 3-1, like obviously they're not looked as like the top 2 teams in the league. I
Yep.
definitely think they're the biggest dark horse in the league. Um, I mean, with the two guards, DeQ, Hodge, like
Yep.
those guys are quick off the ball, and if you don't catch that first step, they're gone. So I think that's dangerous coming down the line.
Yeah, I agree. You know who Dante Hodge reminds me of? This might outdate me. Brandon Jennings. That's who Dante Hodge reminds
Hey,
me of.
wasn't he in the news this week talking about Tatum a little bit? Is that Brandon Jennings that called
I
him
think.
soft?
Thank God Connor's not on the podcast. Speaking of soft, I got a good question to end our Legacy post game. New year, new us, new Legacy. And I'm going to ask Nick. I'm going to ask you specifically because Chris doesn't count. Nick, if you were in this league, how many do you think you could average?
Oh God. Average?
Yeah. Like so, for instance, I average I think 4 a game, maybe
No,
six.
I don't know.
Because I asked inters this. Some of them are like I
It's
dropped
gonna
20.
have to change on what team I would be on.
Let's say you're on Flint.
I mean, they got good ball movement, so I could probably average 6.
Six? That's humble. That's a humble, good answer, Chris. I'll go to you, even though you played in the league a million times.
I'll average 30 like the old days, man.
Like the old days. He's right. He's right.
Hey,
Well,
stats don't matter, man, when you have 3 championships.
That is, you know what? That's facts, and that's a great segue because they're all
Hey,
playing for that
my season
championship.
high, my last season was in the semifinals, so I show up in the playoffs.
True. There's one thing you can say about Chris. He shows up in the big games when the spotlight's brightest, and that's what these other teams are going to try to do, right? We got, I mean, Flint, Yaga, TMC,
What are we going into
NLMB.
week
Even the
5?
teams that lost, Get Money, Lords. Going into week 5 next week, I'll just kind of give you the guys the rundowns in the games. We got FD, TMC, Lords Army against Flint Tropics, which is a big game for Lords Army. That's a big win if they could take out Flint. And then we got Yagaville,
What are the
NLMB, and YOLO Get Money.
What's Lord's Army's record now? Are they 1-3?
Let's see. Lord's Army
Yeah.
is 1-3.
Get Money's 1-3.
Yeah.
Somebody's
gonna share my screen quick.
The 2 seed is gonna be whoever gets the 1 seed is kind of at a big advantage because if Lord's Army or you get Lord's Army or Get Money in the first round, yikes!
Yeah,
that's not going to be an easy path to the finals, and you have to play NLMB or Run TMC in the if you have to play Get Money and then Run TMC in the semis, that's not going to be an easy path to the finals.
Not at all. You can see the standings right now. These next few weeks are huge. If Yagaville and Flint win out and until that last game when they play, it's really
speaking
not
of that,
they'll be
Joey,
1 or 2.
why would you save that for the last week? I think they should have played twice. You have Yagaville and Get Money playing twice. I think Flint should have been on the schedule twice. That's what everybody wants to see.
I agree. They should have played twice. Everyone wants to see those two playing. I agree. I mean, hey, we got it. Week 8? Flint Yagaville at 8:00, which is not good for Yagaville, an 8:00 game. I will tell you.
I know that from experience. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Mike and Jelly might be there on time.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they have their full team, we know what Yagaville can do. But Rudzinski, any other message for the league? Any last comments? Got anything?
Somebody's got to tell Yagaville their games at 7:00 that week. I think my message to the league
that's the good advice.
Just Yagaville might go on a run now. I think they're figuring out their bench players got to play more this week. A couple guys had 30 that don't usually have 30. So obviously you see that. And the thing too is that when Randy and Jay get in the game when everybody else is there, they're gonna have the the worst defender on them. So they'll probably be left wide open or have a pretty easy matchup. Not that there's a lot of easy matchups, but they're not going to have they play Get Money. They're not going to have their, like you said, Taishin on them or any of their best defender. So
no, that's a veteran take. That's how you know Chris has done this for a while because most championships, it's the guys. Yeah, Cody DiLeonardo last year.
Yeah.
Nick Santorelli,
Corey Jacobs
in a Shocker City championship. Corey Jacobs could have been finals. Guys like that win you the games when you need it most. You need the depth, need the role players. So for me, Greg Horne, a no-time champ.
I could see Yagaville. If Yagaville wins, I could see Randy winning MVP or something like that. Somebody out of the blue.
Hey, shout out the Dragon. Shout out
What do
Randy.
they call him? The Red Dragon?
Randy's doing his thing. Red Dragon. I mean, he is sniping like a dragon. He's on fire.
I agree.
So I gotta
they
tip
look
my
good.
hat to them.
They just got. I hope they play a little more defense when they play Flint.
Yeah, and we're gonna see week 8. We got some good games. Week 5. Nick, the king himself over there. Nick, you've been on a bunch of these post games. I appreciate it. I'll do some finals picks coming up, so we'll still have these guys' finals picks. We'll do a bracket one of these shows, but that was a great post game, boys, and for everyone. We'll see you guys week 5 for the Connecticut season in 2025, baby. New year, new us, and go Buckeyes.